From the historic Victorian port city of Manistee, Michigan, welcome to the 26th Annual Victorian Sleighbell Parade. Tonight, take a few steps back in time with one of Michigan's most unique holiday celebrations. Principal funding for tonight's telecast comes from the Little River Casino and Resort at US 31 and M22 in Manistee. Little River, big fun. And from residents of Harbor Village on the Lake Michigan shore in Manistee, who support a vibrant and growing downtown Manistee. And now, here are your hosts for our telecast, Dave Mix and Toni Trucks.
Welcome to the 26th Annual Sleighbell Parade here in beautiful downtown Manistee. I'm Dave Mix, and I am absolutely delighted to be here tonight with a star of stage, screen, and television, Toni Trucks.
Thank you so much.
I am so glad to have you here.
I am so glad to be here, and I'm so glad to be home.
You're home. This is not a strange situation for you. You're very familiar with this parade, aren't you?
I'm very familiar. I grew up in Manistee, Michigan, and I'm so happy to be able to share the wonderful Victorian Sleighbell Parade with the rest of the world.
Isn't it great? And we're probably close 8 to 10,000 people here. And speaking of home,
yes,
your very first stage experience actually started just up the street from us here, didn't it?
It did at the beautiful historic Ramsdale Theater just up the street here. I can probably see it just off your shoulder. The theater was built in 1902. It's a glorious Victorian playhouse, and I did my first play there, Sweet Charity, when I think I was 8 or 7.
Oh, wow. Well, and you're following in the footsteps of another great movie star who has gone on to some pretty incredible stuff.
I should be so lucky. I am, with bloody fingernails, chasing the dreams of James Earl Jones here.
And his very first role was up at the Ramsdale, wasn't it?
Well, many of his very first roles, but absolutely his first showing of Othello was there.
Wow,
yes.
Isn't that incredible? Well, a lot of people who are watching the telecast may know who you are, they know a little about your background, but there's probably a whole lot of people out there who don't really know who Toni Trucks is. And I said star of stage, screen, and television. Stage, you've had in the past year, you've had an exceptional stage.
Thank you.
You've done a lot of stage shows. You've done West Side Story.
Yes.
You've done one of my favorite shows, Ragtime, which is an incredible show. And this past year, you had a wonderful opportunity down in Atlanta.
I did. I went to the wonderful Alliance Theater, which is a Tony Award-winning regional theater, and I did a play called By the Way, Meet Vera Stark, which is written by a Pulitzer Prize winner, Lynn Nottage, and it tells the life of a young black actress from the 20s all the way through the 70s, and really, really epic role to play. I was very fortunate to be able to be a part of it.
That's super. So, stage and screen. I mean, you've been on the screen in Dreamgirls, music and lyrics, Ruby Sparks, which was a great film.
Thank you.
And a couple of years ago, you did what has been an incredibly popular couple of films, The Twilight Saga, Breaking Bad Part 2, and recently, last month, you had another film that you're in just premiere.
Yes.
In fact, it premiered down at the Vogue.
It's so nice to be able to have movies that you're in show in your hometown. It's all very exciting, but I was able to be a part of a wonderful cast for the book-turned-movie Alexander and the Terrible, Horrible, No Good, Very Bad Day, which is a popular children's book. Long title, but completely worth it. And that starred Steve Carell, Jennifer Garner, and was directed by Miguel Arteta.
How neat. And television. You've had so many roles in House and CSI, and just recently I caught you in a role on, we were talking about it last night, in Grimm, which was so much fun. And this past year you also were one of the very principal stars in a series that was on TNT.
Yes, I was fortunate enough to be a part of a series regular in the cast of Franklin and Bash, which stars Breckin Meyer and Mark Paul Gosselaar. And it was a wonderful cast. And I just finished an episode of The Mentalist.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. You got so many things. So we're looking forward to seeing you more on stage, screen, and television.
Absolutely. So, across the board.
Yes.
Making this tiny town proud.
Well, and tonight, here we are in Manistee because we're going to be seeing what is really a unique parade.
Absolutely.
Sleighbell weekend, Old Victorian weekend in Manistee is absolutely incredible. And there are so many things going on. This is a step back in time, truly.
Yes.
But we're seeing the parade tonight, but the parade is only one part of all of the activities that take place this weekend. And a little before we went on the air, Toni had an opportunity of talking with a couple of the people who have been instrumental in
Yes.
all of the activities that go on.
Rachel Estabrook and Joanne Cleaver.
Yeah.
Wonderful ladies.
Let's take a look at that interview.
Hello everyone, we're here in beautiful downtown Manistee, Michigan for the Victorian Sleighbell Parade. I'm here with Rachel Estabrook and also Joanne Cleaver to talk a little bit about the weekend. So as you know, right here, we're here ready for the Victorian Sleighbell Parade, but there are so many other wonderful events that happen over Old Christmas weekend. Can you tell us a little bit more about some of the events that will happen over the course of the weekend?
Sure, the weekend actually starts on Thursday with Festival of Trees at the Ramsdale Theater. And then Friday evening, there's 18 businesses that participate in the soup cook-off, and we had a great turnout last night. And after the soup cook-off, there is awards and live entertainment down at the Bluefish, which is downtown Manistee. We also on Saturday have guided tours of the historic homes of the Buckley and Babcock houses. Which are beautiful houses downtown here in Manistee, and then we also on Sunday have many more events.
That's so wonderful. Can you talk about some of the events that'll happen for the whole family?
You know, St. Nick was only a saint until the Victorians got hold of him. They jazzed up that old guy into the Santa Claus that we know today. You can see him arrive in style at our local marina right downtown, and then the kids can tell Santa what they want. If they want something homemade, you can go over to the high school at the craft fair with over 300 vendors. You can carry on the Victorian tradition of buying a handcrafted gift, maybe get some inspiration for things you want to buy in future seasons. It's wonderful for stuffing those stockings.
It is. It's so great. Now, it's a little late for some of the families this year, but if in future for next year, how would people know about the Old Town Christmas weekend and learn more about the events?
You can learn more about the event by visiting the website visitmanistee.com.
That's perfect. Thank you so much. And the event always happens the first weekend in December. Is that correct?
The first full weekend of December.
All right. So mark your calendars, everyone, and visit manistee.com, right?
Thank you.
Thank you.
It makes you, when you think about all of the things that are going on, all of the reasons that people would want to plan to come to Manistee this weekend. But it makes you ask a little about the history of the parade.
Yes, well, rumor has it, and I can speak a little bit to this from experience, is that the very first Victorian Sleighbell Parade was not as organized as what you're seeing here today. It was actually very unorganized. It ended up with just a few sort of fellows wandering down the street saying we're doing a parade. But luckily, you know, people loved it enough, and the Sleighbell Parade was eventually born. The records of the first organized showing of the parade was in 1989, and it was started by Jerry Smith and the late Amanda Pinkerton. Originally, the parade was scheduled for the first Friday in December, but ultimately it was changed to the current schedule, which is the first Saturday in December of every year. And that's probably so that more families could participate and you didn't have to come right after work. Another interesting fact about the parade is that in the early days, to reflect the Victorian heritage, the parade organizers would hold workshops for how to dress Victorian.
Wow.
They even sold Victorian clothes. And the Vogue Theater right behind us here, they would show screenings of Meet Me in St. Louis to better educate people on how to dress, how to walk, how to hold themselves for the Victorian era. So there's some really good ideas there maybe we could implement for the next years to come.
Absolutely. I think that that's wonderful. Well, we see the Vogue Theater just down, and you mentioned the Vogue Theater.
Yes.
All this weekend at the Vogue Theater, they're showing classic old Christmas movies at no charge for the people who are here for the weekend.
So nice.
Isn't that great, though?
Absolutely, especially when you consider what a labor of love revitalizing the Vogue Theater was. I think it's so wonderful that they're still giving back.
I know, and the theater this weekend is celebrating its first year of being open. Just last night, they sold their 50,000th ticket for people here. Isn't that incredible?
It's awesome.
And this weekend they're showing, and these are free films for anyone who's here this weekend, they're showing White Christmas, The Christmas Story, It's a Wonderful Life, and Chris Van Allsburg from Grand Rapids. They're showing the Polar Express.
I know that's one of your favorites, Dave.
I love that film. I love that film. Well, you know, we're talking about all the great things that are happening here this weekend, but the fact of the matter is there are all sorts of things that happen throughout the year here in Manistee.
Oh, yes.
And there are a lot of exciting things that happen during the summertime when it's a little warmer than it is right now. One of those is the Forest Festival that happens July 4th weekend, and that is truly a family event. A lot of the activities take place over on the lakefront, and at that time, Main Street here, 4th of July, is packed with people who are here to enjoy the summer.
Yes, there's a fair that happens right down by the beach, which is so fun.
Exactly.
There's live concerts, different people that perform down at the pavilion. There's also Roots on the River, which happens every week. There are live concerts that happen right along the river at the gazebo. You know, I feel like Manistee throughout the year is just bubbling over with events and good cheer and that like really sort of down-home Americana, you know, perfect
kind of thing that people want to come to.
If you need it bottled and sold, we've got it here for you.
Absolutely. One of the other things that takes place just down the street from where we are right here is Hops and Props.
Oh, yes.
That takes place in September, and Hops and Props has become a really central point for people who want to check out all of the microbreweries from around the state. This year, they had 30 microbreweries that were here.
How many?
30.
Wow.
It was incredible. And one of the other things that takes place in May is the Tight Lines for Troops. And that is an absolutely extraordinary event where all of the charter fishermen here in Manistee make their boats available to veterans of all wars. And this past year they had something like 200 vets who were here that went out on the boats. They go out fishing for the day.
We also have the Venetian Boat Parade, which is always so beautiful. All the people that have their boats in the harbor will decorate them with lights, and it's really sort of a magical time to be down. You know, if those of you haven't visited Manistee, we have 2 beautiful drawbridges here, and it always makes it so magical when any larger freight boats come through and traffic stops, but you know, it's worth it.
One went through earlier today, and I said, gee whiz, if it was right around our showtime, we could catch it on the air. Well, there are so many great things that go on in Manistee, and so take a look at the calendar and plan a visit sometime, any time of the year, and come and enjoy. And we're talking about the parade. This is a unique parade because we're not going to see balloons.
No.
We're not going to see big floats.
No motorized vehicles.
No motorized vehicle in this parade. It really is a step back in time, and it kind of goes back in history not only of Manistee but also of Michigan in general. One of the wagons I discovered when we were talking about what was going to be in the parade. One of the wagons in the parade is 178 years old. Can you believe that?
It is, and I want to tell you this before we get too far, because I don't think we're going to have a chance to tell the whole story during the parade.
Yeah.
So one of the units in the parade is part of the East Lake Fire and Rescue Team, and they were organized in 1881 over in the town of East Lake, which is our neighboring community, and they are one of the oldest continuing fire departments in the state of Michigan. And well, in the early 1900s, the department acquired its very first piece of firefighting real equipment, and it was a fire cart. And the cart held 40 gallons. It was a 40-gallon water tank, and 2 men had to push it, and 2 men had to pull it simultaneously to get it to go anywhere. And when they had a fire, they had to pour a gallon of sulfuric acid into the lead water tank, along with 5 pounds of soda water. And when this happened, it turned the tank into, with the soda and acid mixture, it resulted in immediate pressurized fire tank. And so the water would shoot out, but you couldn't try to stop it or start it, otherwise the entire thing would blow up. So for years, the cart was kept in its very own shed, and it was kept warm by kerosene lamps so that the water wouldn't freeze in the winter. And now here's the amazing thing. They kept using this exact fire cart up until 1952.
Oh my gosh.
And then it was replaced with a used fire truck from 1939. So hopefully they're
and
working
we're going to
with
see
better
that in the
things.
parade tonight.
It's going to be in the parade tonight, so we're going to keep a lookout for the soda ash cart.
That is Well, we're looking forward to that. And we'll talk about another really interesting piece of history a little later about one of the other wagons that are in the parade. It's just extraordinary. Well, there are so many great things happening here on Main Street, River Street, and Manistee, throughout the whole area. And before we climbed up here on our perch to bring you the parade,
yes,
you had an opportunity of talking with someone who told you a little about what's coming up in Manistee. Let's take a look at that.
Yes, Patrick Kay. Hello, everyone. I'm standing here with Patrick Kay, who's going to give us an even more wonderful insight about our Old Town Christmas weekend. Patrick, I come back as often as I can to my hometown, and I love it so much, and I just keep seeing so many new things that are happening in Manistee. Can you talk to us a little bit about some of the things that have happened here on River Street in the past year?
Sure. We've had about 8 new businesses that have opened up in the downtown in the last year. We get calls on a regular basis for people who are looking to open up a new business, buy an old building and revitalize it. So this is a really exciting time to kind of be a part of Manistee and kind of see all the neat things that are happening in the development down here.
Is there anything that we can look forward to happening in Manistee in the coming year?
Yeah, we've got one new restaurant is the famous Flynn's. It was in the old Fast Eddie's location. It'll be a new brick oven pizza place, kind of an Italian restaurant. Just right across the river here, we've got the River Park Place, as well as North Channel Outlets. They'll be developing about 32 new units that'll be starting next year. And then we've got another location, the former Bookmark building. We've got a couple out of Texas that have come into town, and they're looking to put in a music recording studio as well as a lounge downtown.
That's going to be excellent. And what do you think? Why do you think businesses are drawn to Manistee?
Well, you know, there's a couple that have just recently come into town. They're from down in Ann Arbor, and they came up the coast and went both to Ludington and Pentwater and several other places, and said they really just fell in love with Manistee. Didn't feel like any of the other places that they found really kind of met the charm that they were looking for. And just,
our charm factor is very high here.
It is a very high charm factor. But they've really kind of fell in love with the place, and a lot of people, it's been one of these things where they've come into town, they fall in love with the community, and then they figure out, what am I going to do to make money? And so that was one of the reasons, like the bakery that came into town, the Daily Bakehouse. They came into town, fell in love with the place, and said, we've got to open on something. Bakery sounds like a great location, and they've done extremely well with that place.
They have. Now, if I'm a new business owner or looking to start a business in Manistee, who can I talk to? Where can I find out how to do that, to check out Manistee?
Sure, you can contact me. You can go to our website. It's visitmanistee.com. On there, you'll have a contact number for myself, 231-398-3262. You can also send me an email on there, but we've got opportunities for new loans, new business incentives, as well as what available properties are available downtown.
So you're encouraging people to get in contact and let's do this.
Yes.
Awesome, awesome. That's visitmanistee.com, and get an idea and call us up. Let's do it.
The dog sled team that's going to come racing down the street. So we're going to be kind of watching as we look down the street to see when the police will slowly move people back to the curb. So pardon us if we're kind of going on some vent here and all of a sudden we interrupt.
Well, didn't we hear earlier that no one's ever actually caught a picture of the dog sled team?
That's what I heard. So this is going to be good that we actually get them on television.
They're fast.
Well, we talk about Manistee being a Victorian city. And back in 1871, a great part of the city was destroyed by what probably were cinders that flew over Lake Michigan from the Chicago fire, because
it
that
burned
happened the same day. Yeah. And but today, because a lot of the buildings were still preserved, Downtown Business District is listed on the National Register of Historic Places, the entire downtown area.
That's incredible. And Dave, the last century and a half, Manistee's been known for a lot of different things. Clothes manufactured, including arrow shirts, watchmaking. Manistee had one of the most significant tower clock manufacturing companies in the country. So a lot of Manistee clocks were all over the world. But during the last part of the 19th century, during the Victorian era that we're celebrating today, Manistee was especially known for its lumbering and logging industry.
Absolutely. In fact, in the 19th century, Manistee had 30 different mills that were producing shingles here in Manistee. And Manistee produced more shingles during that period of time than any other place in the world. So it's pretty interesting.
And also during that same time, during the lumber boom of the 1880s, there were more millionaires per capita in Manistee than anywhere else in the entire United States, which you can see in the homes that are left over here today, can't you?
Absolutely. And when the people built the homes, there were also some great things that took place with the buildings. And we've got a video that we're going to show you on the Ramsdell Inn, which is right behind us here.
Beautiful building.
In July of 1891, the Ramsdell building was under construction at a cost of between $30,000 to $40,000. The building was designed by East Saginaw architect Fred Hollister. But it was built and named after the prominent Manistee attorney and philanthropist Thomas Jefferson T.J. Ramsdell. The Ramsdell has 4 floors total. The bottom 2 were built using granite, while the top 2 were constructed with brick. On the 2nd floor, bank vaults 2 feet thick were installed and considered the most fire and burglar proof in that era. Manistee County Savings Bank leased that portion of the Ramsdell for 10 years, which came as a surprise to TJ, who was the president of the First National Bank across the street. Frederick W. Ramsdell, TJ's son, was a world-renowned artist and painted the mural located in the 2nd floor. The depiction is symbolic of the cultural and industrial state of the area in that day. The upper floors were originally occupied by the law offices of T.J. Ramsdell, E.E. Benedict, and George L. Hilliker, but are now used as a boutique hotel. The downstairs housed and functioned as the city drugstore until 1975 and is now known as TJ's Pub. For more information on this or other Manistee historic sites, go to visitmanisteecounty.com or download the Manistee County app.
The Ramsdell Inn is an absolutely incredible building,
It's gorgeous.
isn't it though? And as they were showing in the piece, the upstairs rooms in the Ramsdell have been renovated and are absolutely
The corner
wonderful.
rooms especially are so beautiful, that
And
architecture.
TJ's isn't a bad place to come and
TJ's
have,
is great. Have dinner there.
something to warm up by, you know.
Yep.
I think that if we look down the street, we may see that they're starting to clear the street, which would be an indication that the
dogs are
team
coming.
is going to be coming down the street.
They have to clear the streets so that no one gets hurt, because these are like the Flash, these dogs.
And they have 10 dogs, I think, don't they?
Yes. Yep. I believe so. Where is that? Not sure how many dogs there are. Yeah, there's a dog sled team. Yeah. That's pretty much it. There's going to be a beautiful woman driver that is manning all of these wonderful dogs. Her name is Michelle Seeley, and she's from right here in Manistee County, so that's wonderful to celebrate one of our fabulous women in the community. Oh, here they come! That's wonderful.
And they're not pulling a sled, they're pulling a ATV. How about that?
They're really going to make liars out of us
I
tonight,
know.
aren't they? Look at that.
I know.
They're fantastic. Look at that. Do you think that we could name them all of the reindeer names?
I think they hit the brake somewhere along the line. Hey,
Oh,
they
here
come.
they come. Oh,
There they
wow.
go.
Look at that.
Whoa.
Fantastic. Fantastic. They are very exciting.
Oh, that is cool.
That's very cool. Well, you know, this is the big signal for the parade to begin. So
I think that this is a good indication that the parade is on its way.
it's officially started.
And we were talking about all of the different things. One of the first groups that we're going to see is the Keystone Cops that are going to
They're
be
my
coming
favorite
down.
group.
There you go. Well, they're your favorite because your dad is involved with it, right?
One of the handsome gentlemen that will be walking by will be my father, dressed as a old-timey Keystone Cop. And I asked him what he did in the town, and he said he mostly goes around arresting overaged drinkers.
This is the first time we've done this, and the funding for tonight's telecast was incredibly important. One of the organizations here in town that stepped forward to help underwrite the cost of the telecast and the principal cost of the telecast was Little River Resort and Casino here in Manistee. And although he unfortunately couldn't be with us because he's out of town this weekend, Little River's general manager, Wendell Long, wanted to share a brief holiday message.
The Little River Casino Resort, an enterprise of the Little River Band of Ottawa Indians, and our 800 employees are very pleased to sponsor this year's Victorian Sleighbell Parade. And on behalf of all of us, we want to wish you a very Merry Christmas and hope you can come visit us on the corner of US 31 and M22, where Little River means big holiday fun.
What do we have here?
These
are Keystone Cops.
These are our beautiful Keystone Cops, and the Keystone Cops are an outgrowth of the support of the Manistee Kiwanis Club that have helped to pitch in and support the Sleighbell Parade. They lead the parade each year. They carry a banner. They help with crowd control. And, you know, their role really is also just crowd engagement, and they move along the streets, they take a lot of pictures. As I said, my father likes to arrest the overage drinkers. There he is on your screen on the left there, looking dapper as always. So the Keystone Cops are just wonderful. Everyone really looks forward to seeing them, and lots of people that even aren't a part of Kiwanis will oftentimes volunteer to be a Keystone Cop.
I can well imagine, and frankly, it looks like they probably have a wonderful time just interacting with the crowd.
Well, those billy clubs are a little
exactly.
intimidating, so I'd watch yourself.
That's great.
But I love them. They're definitely a throwback to the silent movie era, right?
Exactly, and that's what's so wonderful. I'm just looking at that front line of Keystone Cops coming down. Do I see someone in there that I recognize? Did I see someone by
my father?
I think so. I think so.
Oh yes, you're going to see my handsome father there, hugging the left side of your screen when they get a close up. He's bearded and wonderful and handsome. He looks sort of like Father Christmas himself.
And having a wonderful time.
Always having a wonderful time. You should know that the secret of my dad tonight is he is armed with both electric socks and electric gloves.
Oh, no kidding.
Yep. If they get a close-up, I'll holler. Yep. Well, there's some good Kiwanians right there.
I think he's on the other side of that row of Keystone Cops.
Camera shy. There he is at the end.
We just... You could tell he's walking along like he has warm feet.
You can tell he's got a little extra zap in his step.
He's shaking hands, so
yeah,
that's a warm-footed person.
He has pep in his step. I don't know if electric socks are Victorian or not, but
I'm not sure.
We'll give him a pass.
Yeah, right.
Can we give him a pass?
Yeah.
Oh, I think I hear in the distance of the Keystone Cops are bagpipers.
Bagpipers, absolutely.
Oh, beautiful. Yes, they are being led tonight by Stephen McNeil. And with a name like McNeil, seems like
he should be playing the bagpipe,
I would think so too. There's my beautiful father. Oh, yes.
And here they come.
Let's take a listen. Oh, look at this. There is Queen Victoria herself.
Well, look who turned up. It's in a Victorian parade, Queen Victoria herself. And considering the Queen reigned from 1837 to 1901, she seems to be holding up pretty well, as a matter of fact. That's what happens when you have a whole era named after you, right?
I think so. In the case tonight, our queen may actually be Joanne Cleaver from here in Manistee, but I could be wrong. Either way, she's looking fantastic.
Yeah.
Oh, and also, yes.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say we've got our newly crowned Miss Teen of Manistee, Michigan, Miss Teen Michigan, Fallon Gates. Fallon is 16-year-old junior right here from Manistee, and she is Miss Teen Michigan, the very first pageant she ever entered and won. The contestants were judged on personality, interview skills, and also 2 modeling routines.
And she's going on to compete in Orlando shortly. And here we have